that you wear a lot of different hats. And I think what's actually cool about that is how each of those roles. So, I mean, you're not only, boxing trainer, you're, an expert nutritionist,
Yep.
you have the military background, the physical education and, the physical training part of it, not to mention the boxing part of it, the teaching aspect of it with your background as a teacher as well. How do each of those little bits, because it's almost like Voltron formed into like this like boxing coach, you know what I mean? Because you have all these different parts that it's like, how do all these things come into one person to channel it into boxing? How do you incorporate all those different backgrounds and roles into VIT?
Yeah. So the biggest thing is our team uses a lot, especially with VIT, a lot of science.
Mm-hmm.
I came in the boxing world, and people were like, you shouldn't lift weights. I'm like, that's BS. You should always lift weights as an athlete, and so the thought process I'm coming from is very much a scientific background, from the exercise science background I have, nutrition background I have. And so we incorporate a lot of that stuff. We'll do hand-eye coordination. I mean, we incorporate so much of these different things. As you said, I'm kind of busy here and there. And so I think, but they all come together though. I mean, being a teacher and a coach is no different. It's just a different classroom. That's a really, truly statement. And so I think that has really helped me kind of, as Vic was saying earlier, like, it's one thing to criticize. It's another thing to criticize and critique. If you're always on somebody's, tail all the time, they're not going to get better. They're going to hate you, have resentment. And to learn how to communicate through the communicational forms, how to take care of that. But for Vit, I mean, he's such a good athlete, man. It's like when you ask for an athlete to come to your gym and you ask for it, in your mind, you're thinking all the things that you want. You want somebody who listens, who takes in the heart, who works outside the gym, who does all these things. And literally, Vit was just that like perfect storm of coming in the gym. I mean, Vit's improved leaps and bounds, since he's been with us. I mean, he came from an 0-2 background and then came to our gym and then has flourished. I mean, even last year he took off and we were going to take him to the Eastern qualifiers, which is a route to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. I mean, we did have a hiccup there because we found out he has a American refugee citizenship, so he's not eligible for it. So that's why we decided to go pro. Otherwise, the other choice was to try to get to the Olympics.
Yeah.
With Vit.
And you're right. I mean, you see, and from what I've seen with Vit, I mean, there's a reason why they call you the King Cobra, right? I mean, you're like, your physical ability is obviously there. Like you're, incredibly fast and incredibly quick and good sharp reflexes. And when you start to see the training and the technical skill and the style and everything come together, you really start to wonder, where could this go? Like, honestly, it seems it's one of those situations and where, the right team and the right boxer and, everything kind of comes together. I mean, I know you're really early into your career. Where do you see this becoming your full-time career? Do you see this kind of, where do you see your career, Vit, where do you see you ending up in 5-10 years?
So 5-10 years, trying to be the WBC champion.
That's what I like to hear. Amen. I'm glad to hear that.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm aiming high. At the moment, I'm kind of in a sense working 2 jobs. I'm doing this part time, and then I'm doing my day job doing IT. I'm actually working for Spectrum, the internet service provider, and we troubleshoot and whatnot. So. Before that, I was doing something else, warehouse, and I was like, hey, I still have my experience here. Let me get back into that. So, other than that, that's what I do on a day, and then after I'm done with that, I go train. So, I'm looking to try to make boxing my primary career, and hopefully retire from there. Try to get that belt.
Yeah.
Try to live that dream.
So about how many pro fights into somebody's career does that transition really start to occur where this becomes, you're dedicated full-time and that's it?
Got to get about 15.
Got to get about 15?
Get about 15 good wins on our belts. And then you start getting recognized by some of the organizations. Mm-hmm. Start by 10, I want to try to get some low-end belts for a bit. Like there's, WBC is up here. It's the WBC, WBO, IBF, WA. They're the top belts. And WBC is one of the most well-known. But there's some mid-tier ones and there's some low-tier ones. And by its 10th fight, I'm looking for those mid to low-tier belts. I mean, 100%. And then when you start getting those, Then you start getting looked at by somebody like Top Rank, or then you start getting on the radar of people on like Bob Aaron. You know, you're not on his radar, but I think I've heard of that guy, you know?
Yeah.
And then that's when it starts becoming, you get the lucrative side of boxing.
Yes. And people start hearing about you, start to develop that fan base.
Yep.
And so your last fight here we were all fortunate enough that it was in Rock Hill, so a lot of people around here could go see it. Yeah. And a lot of people came to see you. I know you don't live in Rock Hill, but we claim you. You're Rock Hill. But
well, it's close. It's
close. You're
in
close.
the border.
Exactly. So you live in Charlotte, though, right?
Yeah, it's in Charlotte.
Well, that's Rock Hill. We claim you.
Yeah.
You have a fan base in Rock Hill. Like this is where your gym is. There's a lot of people that know about you here.
Yeah.
And you're a part of what's quickly becoming known as a boxing scene. The Rock Hill boxing scene. It's like it feels like it's overnight, but I know you've been working towards building this up for years.
Absolutely.
But it's like all of a sudden it's starting to just kind of take off. I mean, we've had already 2 or 3 cards in Rock Hill.
I want to add to that.
Yeah.
There's already 4 promoters now putting shows on Rock Hill on a daily basis.
Wow. And a lot of those shows have Rock Hill boxers.
Yes.
So it's not just there's a fan base here, there's fighters here.
Mm-hmm.
And, we always hear Rock Hill, is Football City, USA. And, everyone knows that we have, more professional football players per capita than anywhere else. But really what that says is there's a lot of athletes here. And obviously athletes plus dedication plus training and everything that goes into that success. But you're starting to see that manifest a lot in boxing. Mm-hmm. And so you have a fight coming up. You have, 3 fights actually before the end of the year.
Yep.
October 24th, November
7th,
and then one in December, right?
12th.
Okay. What do we know about the one coming up in October?
Well, I'll take that one.
All right.
Being his manager and his trainer, I'll take that one. So the one in October, the guy he's fighting out of is, I think he's from Wilson, North Carolina. That's what we're looking at right now. It's a good fight for Vit. Vit should do well in this fight coming up, and that's the one in October. The one in November is a step up for Vit. Vit's we're in boxing, you step up. It's like a ladder, the first couple of fights are here, next fights are here, and then you progress up to the top. And so the one in November 7th is a step up fight for Vit. The guy we're looking at is definitely a pretty good boxer for sure. We're looking at Indianapolis, Indiana is where he's coming from. So not just around here, he's coming from a distance away. And we're stepping up. I mean, because Vit, he's such a great athlete. I wanted to mention one more thing. Mm-hmm. This is the only athlete I know that slept in his car, come to practice, go to work.
Yeah. Or
came right from work, slept in his car, and then come out to practice. Like, that's a level of dedication that this gentleman has done, and it's resulting. I mean, look where we're at. We're about to be 3 fights in. We just signed the contract for his 4th fight. That fell through, but we got to get another contract. But still, you got 5 fights by the end of the year, and COVID tried to slow us down, but we're just keep marching right through.
COVID stole 6 months from you.
Yep, so you did.
And you're still getting 5 fights in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of unheard of to see somebody fight in 3 months, but I mean, really, you're talking about one of them is only 2 weeks from 2 weeks apart.
Yep.
And then another one, 30 days basically behind that one. Mm-hmm. I mean, you ready for that?
Oh yeah.
I saw your last fight. I mean, you didn't take a lot of punishment, but let's just, that's still a lot. I mean, to stay in fighting shape for that long and to try to peak over a 3-month time.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges does that present for you?
I mean, when it comes to fight, right? I just focus more on training, right? Just stay ready no matter what. And then when the fight's offered, I just take it. I mean, whether it be like, we got 1 month to prepare. If it's good to go, we just go. I mean, I'm already in shape. Like, I try to stay. I don't want to be like overweight. Even during the pandemic, I'm always like doing cardio, working, keeping my skills sharp. Keep sharpening that pencil, right? Keep it sharp in your arsenal. So I was always stay. Keep on my what is it called? Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Your muscle memory. When you're punching, you don't have to think.